Hey everyone, it's MK. Welcome back for my weekly live feed. I'm actually coming to you a little bit earlier in the week this week, aren't I? And this weekly live feed, although I do this weekly, is kind of an impromptu topic for today. And actually one of you recommended that Paul and I, talk about this week in light of kind of what's going on in this part of the country, or what may be going on over the next few days. So of course all of us have been watching for the better part of a week now, week and a half, the devastation that happened in the Texas, Houston area. And you know, it's just heartbreaking to watch that on the TV. But I know if you're like me, I also feel a sense of awe and gratitude for the people who are just reaching out to each other, right? And they're just stepping up, they're helping, you know, they're putting aside race, religion, creed, political affiliation, all of those things, and just being good neighbors to each other. So as you know, or maybe you don't, because you may not be tuned in to weather in the southeast part of the country, but there's another huge hurricane brewing out in the Atlantic, and it looks like it's going to be taking aim at Florida. So this coming week I was supposed to be taking off for Georgia, and that still is my plan. I see my friend Sean is on. I'm hoping to see Sean later this week. And right now my plan is to still be on the road, up to do my teaching event and to do my quilt retreat. But of course I've let everybody know that that really depends on the weather, and we don't want anybody out on the roads if it's going to be a hazard to any of us. Okay, so I'm going to be watching that really carefully. But what I thought we would cover today, because one of my friends reached out, was just to talk a little bit about storm prep as it relates to our machines. And this, you know, we're in Florida, this storm is coming, but this really relates to all of us, because no matter where we are, we have things that crop up, weather and what else. So I thought I would just cover a few things that you might want to think about with your situation. And I, of course, am thinking about this big time this week. And Paul and I have already discussed that he, you know, regardless of really what happens here, unless it's just cataclysmic level for the Tampa Bay area, he's probably going to stay behind and make sure that everything is safe and secure here at MK Quilts. But what I wanted to talk about first is our warranties on our machines. So really, if you don't know already, find those serial numbers on your machines. Your machine and your Pro Stitcher each have separate serial numbers. The machine's usually somewhere towards the back. The carriage on your Pro Stitcher will have the serial number somewhere. It might be underneath. But know those numbers. They're also on your boxes. So it's always a good idea to keep those boxes. Hope you have them. But the serial number should be on there as well. And then make sure that your machines and your Pro Stitcher are registered with Handy Quilter, okay? If you've bought your machine new, brand new from a dealer, that should be one of the steps that you take with that person. But you may have bought your machine used or secondhand or what have you. So find those serial numbers, hop onto the HQ website and get your machine registered with Handy Quilter. First of all, that keeps you updated with all, you know, email blasts that go out, the information that the company wants you to have. And us PS users, we like to stay plugged into that because we are always watching for updates and software implementations and things like that. So get those machines registered with Handy Quilter so that you can stay plugged in, and so that you know they know what you have and you know how to reach out to them if anything crops up with warranty issues, okay? All right, the other thing that I specifically wanted to talk about today was the warranty as it regards or relates to your electrical systems on your machines, okay? So I just pulled out my Fusion user manual, went to the back under where it talks about the warranty, and right there on number 5D, it specifically says that your electrical warranty will be invalid if your machine is plugged into a power source when not in use. Okay, and you might be thinking, but I've got them on UPSs. Both my machines are on UPSs here too, but that is a power supply, right? That's a power source. So when you're not using your machines, it's always a good idea to just unplug them. Not only turn them off, but unplug them. And just a little story, this hit very close to home, literally for me and Mr. MK. 3 years ago at this time of the year, our home took a direct lightning strike here in Florida. And it took out our air conditioning, all of our landline telephones, our big screen TV, our Wii, anything electrical in the house, it just took out. Now, I was working out of my home studio at the time. My machine was plugged in. But by the grace of God, and perhaps the UPS, I don't know, it was unaffected. But that just scared the living daylights out of me. And so, you know, if it's storming outside, especially if there's lightning, shut it down, unplug it, protect yourself and your machine, okay? Because if that machine is taken out by lightning, it's kind of SOL for all of us, okay? All right, so read through your warranty manual and just make sure that you're aware of what is covered and what is not, okay? There's some exclusions in there. Okay, the next thing I wanted to mention, and I want to just preface this straight up with saying, please do not do any of this if you are physically unable to do it. Please get help. Do not hurt yourself doing any of this, okay? We certainly don't want that to happen. But just remember that your Pro Stitcher and your machine are separate. So you may not be able to move your machine on your own, but if you got help, you could get it off the carriage and you could at least protect your carriage most likely, okay? Unplug it. Your tablet is part of the Pro Stitcher system, so unplug that tablet, take off all the cords, get that carriage somewhere safe and protected, bagged up, whatever you have to do. So, you know, at least if something were to happen and you can't physically move your machine, Pro Stitcher, a little bit easier to move that, right? So please get help with doing that. These machines are heavy. Do not hurt yourself, okay? All right. That also relates, I wanted to mention people, not here in Florida so much, but people who have your machines in basement areas in your homes. You know, have a plan for preparation and preparing early in the event that something is coming, that you're going to have to get that machine up and out of that basement, okay? Because water's going to go down if it's a flood situation, and you don't want to be like trying to get somebody to help you with that when they're trying to save their lives and their property. You know, plan ahead, get that machine out of the basement if you can safely, okay? Right? All right, the next thing is to know your insurance. And I don't know if you saw, I forget what board it was on, but just not too long ago, there was a gal who posted that she had had some sort of electrical fire, completely destroyed her home studio, her quilting machine. She had a big embroidery machine in there, and she was kind of like being told different things, what she thought she was told, what she thought she had, what she really had in the way of insurance, okay? So all of us have different scenarios, different setups, just differences. And if you are at all unclear about your coverage, call up your agent, have a sit down, make sure that you are completely 100% sure of what you have and that you have the amount of coverage that you need for a replacement value, okay, whatever that is in your situation. Take pictures, and that was kind of a dual thing I wanted to mention when you're unhooking your machine. If you do decide to take the Pro Stitcher and the tablet and all of that off, take pictures, okay? I know it's scary. Some of our machines have a lot of cabling, and you want to know how to get it all back together, right? So take pictures, but it's a good idea. Like, I'm going to today and tomorrow just go around the studio and take all kind of pictures, you know, just so that I have documentation of what I have in here. You know, I may or may not have all of the receipts. I'm hoping that I do, in a safe place over the years, have collected things, but I want to have proof, you know, physical picture proof at least of what I had that might need to be replaced. All right, so that's that. And then to keep in mind about flood insurance, you know, it's really, people probably in the central part of the country, whatnot, that don't live near water, they probably don't think about flood insurance. But I had a business luncheon, kind of a networking kind of thing last week, and there was an insurance guy there. And he said, you know, a lot of those poor souls in Houston and in Texas didn't have flood insurance because they didn't think they needed it. But floods can come from other types of situations, things in your house, water leaks and water mains and different types of things that could qualify as a flood situation. And if you have insurance, he said I mean, even here in Florida, it's very, very cheap. Well, I don't know. It's probably going to be going up now, right? The hurricane's coming. But plan ahead for that. You may not think that you need flood insurance, but if it's a minute amount of money, isn't that worth it? These things are expensive. And that's actually just the last thing that I wanted to talk about before I show you what's on the frame today, is that we should take these precautions and prepare ourselves the best that we can. But you guys, these things, the value of them is not anywhere in comparison with the value of your life and my life. So do what you can, but they're not worth it. If you need to get out of some place, heed the warnings and get out. You are more important than any piece of hardware, right? Okay, I think that is just about it. I think I'm just about ready to cry there. Okay, so just pray for us here. If you're the praying type, just keep us in your thoughts and prayers. I just hope that this thing goes out to sea and that nobody along the eastern seaboard is affected. So that's what I'm going to be praying for. All right, so let's just take a look. Nothing over here on McFusion today. I had a gal in the shop today doing the rental program, quilting the charity quilt. So she's empty. But over here on McFusion, or McFinity rather, sorry McFinity, is a beautiful quilt that I'm working on. I'm trying to get this quilt done and one other quilt that I need to take with me to Georgia this week, assuming that I make the trip. I posted about it earlier today. It's a beautiful pattern in the Grids Girls realm. And if you don't know what that is about, it's a program being highly touted by my friend Deb Heatherly, who designs for Creative Grids. And that quilt right there uses a whole lot of different creative grid rulers. And it's just a program where you can have it in your local quilt shop or in your guild, where you just kind of get together and you bust out those rulers, and you know, they may be sitting in a closet somewhere, and you just use them. And Deb is creating patterns that can use a bunch of those rulers into one project. She's calling it Grids Girls, and she's done a lot of patterns. So I need to get that one done, and I'm just hoping, I'm so excited to make this trip to Georgia, but I don't want to put my life at risk either. So fingers crossed that I'll be meeting you ladies up there in Georgia, and then I'll be on retreat. And keep Mr. MK and Samson in your thoughts and prayers. They're going to be back here holding down the fort. All right, you guys, hopefully I can come to you next week from beautiful Dillard, Georgia, and up near the Franklin, North Carolina region of the country is where I'm planning to be. Okay, take a look at all your documents, know your coverages, prep yourself in the case of anything, and until next time, everybody, it's MK from my studio to yours. Happy quilting. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.